Hello, and welcome to your daily oracle reading for Monday, September 14th, 2020. I'm Linda the Lightworker. I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I make these daily videos so we can all remember to stay on our purpose-driven path, living up to those commitments we made to ourselves, living one day at a time. So if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. All the info about me is down below in that dibbly-doo box. LindaTheLightWorker.com is my website, or you can email me directly, LindaTheLightWorker@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. All right, today's general reading is for all of us, and I'm working with the Gregory Scott Tarot deck, and the info again down below. Let me just do a little, I'm sure I'll have to adjust this lighting. There we go. That's his. He's awesome. You should check him out. He makes daily videos. Also, he is an astrologer and really has some incredible insights and a different approach. We both work with the tarot, but we use it differently. So anyway, check him out. All right, for our first card, we have two different cards that came up. These came together when I threw them. The first is the Fool. And I do love it when we get the Fool on a Monday morning, because this is about picking ourselves up, dusting ourselves off, and starting all over again. And this can be, you know, this guy is looking out. He's not watching where he's walking, right? And he looks like he's actually kind of stepping on some flowers there. And he's got like his little dog with him over here, and they're headed somewhere. And he's not looking because this really is a cliff that he might step off of. So the warning that comes up with the Fool is that if you are embarking on a new project or starting off with a new perspective of where you are and where you're headed, just be sure to, it's great to be optimistic. Listen, I live in optimism, and sometimes it can be a downfall because we're not paying attention to all the other things that are happening around us, like this cliff that he might step off of. So the invitation here is to pay attention to where you're headed, watch your steps. It doesn't mean that you need to be cautious about and not optimistic, but having a little bit of that practical element coming through when we have this Fool energy is a great way to help us feel more successful. And the card that came with it is this Eight of Pentacles. So here he is, this guy. We know the Pentacles represents all of our earth signs, and those are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And this is about, the Pentacles also really represent working with that earthly energy of making money, having stability, all those first chakra things, material gains. And this guy is working his craft and he's making his dough. He is hammering it out. So perhaps you're headed on a new journey today within your working life where you may need to pay attention to some details. You know, when you're blacksmithing, you keep your eye on the fire, right? He is keeping his eyes on his work. So focusing his attention on this is the invitation today of paying attention to your craft and how you're working, but approaching your work with fresh eyes, with enthusiasm. With this little dog is there too. Maybe you can bring your dog into work with you. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, our second card today is the Six of Wands. Now, the Suit of Wands certainly relates to all of our fire signs, and those are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. But it also pertains to having that energy and creative outbursts and being able to work. And this guy, look at him. He is the bringer of good news. Everyone is joyfully celebrating his return. So maybe some of you have been able to return to work. That's a possibility of coming up, or returning into your community in a way that you weren't able to before during the real extreme lockdown times. This is the bringer of good news, new opportunities, possible fortunes coming in, or new work, new energy, and victorious, really just with celebration is really what I'm getting. This victorious sort of, everybody feels good. It's like, oh, finally something nice that we can celebrate just for a moment. And then our third card today is another major arcana. So when we get all these major arcanas, it's like these are these real realities that are happening. And it's the Star card. So this is the invitation for you to rise above those murky waters, or perhaps you were playing down here with the fishes, and rising into your full potential. Look at, she's drinking from that beaker, some elixir to give her extra strength and color and vitality. She is about letting go of fears, rising out of that old emotional patterns, old emotional, those fishes down there going back and forth, like where are they swimming to? She is ready to rise up, rise up. So that's the invitation. It's stepping into that magical place where you really are the center, the star of your story. Because sometimes, even though he's not really even thinking about himself, this fool, he's just headed off on his journey and he is just carefree about it. But she is focused, she is stepping into her power and really recognizing all of her strengths and gifts and beauty that she brings. She's an anomaly, a mermaid, my goodness. I mean, how many mermaids are there in this world? Well, it all depends on what you believe, right? All right. I don't know if there are any real mermaids, but I know there are a lot of people who believe there are mermaids. And in New York, when I lived in New York for so many years, there's a mermaid parade that happens every June. And it's when all the women come out in their mermaid attire. So I'm really thinking about all those mermaids celebrating that power, that mermaid power, embracing your inner mermaid. All right, our final card today comes from the Denise Linn Sacred Travelers deck. And you know I love this deck and love Denise's story. She's so incredible. All right, our final card today is this distant thunder. So let me say a couple things about the distant thunder. We know, like, places on the east, on the West Coast, like such as California, Oregon, and Washington State, and I think Colorado as well, maybe Arizona, are in desperate need of water. So let's pray for rain for all those areas so that those fires are able to be released. But what I see here with, it says, the message here today is clear the air. And in the past, when this card has come up, it's been a message about, you know, perhaps there's something you need to say to perhaps your loved one or a colleague of some kind, or a friend who keeps maybe saying the same thing about you that's misinformed, and you need to clear the air, or something was said and your feelings were hurt, and it's about you being able to I keep hearing like re-ionize, really change the ions. You know, storms change the metabolic barometric pressure, and they really can be a lovely change for what's going on. This isn't about you being afraid. She, in fact, you know, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, my mother just loved thunderstorms. I love thunderstorms too, because it was a wonderful way for us to experience the weather together. So, but this looks supercharged. I'm really getting that perhaps this clearing the air, the invitation today is for you to claim your space, claim your desk, clean your desk, clear it, and let's look at what is not empowering you in your life. So let's say you have a couple of friendships that, you know, they're not empowering. You tend to get swept under the rug. or they are hyper negative, and when you talk to them, you just feel drawn down or torn, or like a part of their sad, gloomy story, and there's no way for you to rise up from this situation. Clear the air. This clearing the air can mean you walking away from a relationship that really has been tumultuous and very stormy and not empowering at all, not supportive, not loving. Now, for those of you who are working on a 12-step program, when we start doing that big work and we start really looking at how we are participating in our lives for whatever situation is rising around us, there's a natural unfurling of friends. Let's say you gave up alcohol or a narcotic, and those people that you used to really connect with in the narcotic world are just not going to be the right people for you to hang out with, especially if you're making those positive changes to your life. So the invitation here is to really look at how you can clean up your act, clearing the air. And that requires you to be honest with yourself. Now, on a bigger scale, I do want to say that working hard on earning your living right now is a good invitation, because I keep hearing messages for in the future that we have coming up in the coming months. There may be more thunder and lightning. So it is just doing that preparation work before the storm. So it's always a good idea. This card did say to clear your desk or to clean, look at, evacuate. What is your go bag? What if you do have to evacuate? What is important to you? Really looking at where your values are now, today, rather than those decisions you might have made 5 or 10 years ago that don't suit you anymore, because you're not the same person as you used to be, right? So anyway, that's our message there for Denise, from Denise. All right, my dear, that's our reading for today. Golly. Well, you know what? I know you can do it. And if you're one of my first-time subscribers or first-time being here, thank you so much for being here. And I really love hearing from you in the comments section and knowing what's going on and sharing with me what your experience is like. Because, I know I don't give a regular reading, and I'm not for everybody, which is kind of nice that we found each other. So anyway, I'm really grateful that you stopped by, and have a sensational Monday. You can do it. All right, my dear. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.